Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something powerful today. Too many of us are out here chasing approval, seeking validation, trying to beat everyone else at their game. But what if I told you it's never been about them? What if I told you the greatest battle you'll ever fight, the one that truly matters, is the one you're fighting with yourself? That's right, it's me vs. me. Every day when you wake up, the only person standing between you and your goals is looking back at you in the mirror. That reflection right there, that's your real competition. You see, we spend so much time comparing ourselves to others. We see someone else's success, their journey, and we start doubting ourselves, wondering if we're enough. But let me break it down for you. Comparing yourself to anyone else is just a distraction. They're not living your life. They don't know your struggles, your dreams, your sacrifices. The only person who knows what it takes to get where you're going is you. The real question is, can you beat the version of yourself that's afraid? The one that's full of doubt, hesitation, excuses, because that's the battle that counts. This journey isn't about proving anything to the world. It's about proving to yourself that you're willing to do what it takes day after day to overcome your weaknesses, break your own limits, and grow into the person you know you're meant to be. So ask yourself, are you ready to face the toughest competitor you'll ever know? Are you ready to take on the me vs. me battle? When it comes to achieving greatness, people often look outside themselves, focusing on competitors, critics, or challenges presented by others. But the most significant competition any of us will ever face isn't someone standing in front of us or the one who seems to have it all. No, the most important competitor is staring right back at us in the mirror. The biggest competition is the person we see every single day ourselves. It's not an easy concept to internalize because society conditions us to compare and measure ourselves against others, but the reality is that true greatness comes from mastering the battle within. Think about it. When you're trying to improve, to push yourself forward, to grow in any aspect of life, there's always resistance, and that resistance often comes from within. The habits you form, the beliefs you've adopted, the comfort zones you've created, these are the real obstacles standing in the way. The battle to overcome them is a fight against the version of yourself that prefers to take it easy, that doesn't want to be uncomfortable, and that settles for less than what you're capable of. The challenge isn't about outperforming someone else's success, it's about outperforming your own past, breaking free from the self-imposed limitations and patterns that hold you back. One of the core reasons why the person in the mirror is your biggest competition is because of the immense influence your own mind has over your decisions, actions, and beliefs. Our thoughts shape our reality, and if those thoughts are self-defeating or limiting, they become the biggest barriers to our growth. For example, how many times have you set a goal only to be plagued by doubt that you couldn't do it? That internal voice starts whispering that it's too hard, that you're not ready, that others are better or more deserving. That voice is the voice of resistance. It's the manifestation of fear, insecurity, and self-doubt. And that's the version of you that you need to overcome. Competing with yourself means challenging those thoughts, recognizing when they arise, and choosing to act in spite of them. Another reason why this me vs. me battle is so important is that you are the only person who truly knows your potential. You know the talents, the dreams, the capabilities that lie within you. You also know where you fall short, where you've made excuses, and where you could have done better. This self-awareness is both a blessing and a challenge because it means you can't lie to yourself. When you choose not to push your limits, you feel it deep down. You know when you're not giving it your all, and that awareness can either drive you to improve or create frustration and dissatisfaction. But if you choose to engage in this internal competition, you give yourself the chance to reach new heights, to see what you're truly capable of, and to live up to your potential. Competing against yourself also means setting a higher standard. When you focus solely on external competitors, you're only aiming to match or surpass what someone else has done. But when you set the goal to compete with yourself, there's no limit. You're constantly looking for ways to be better than you were yesterday, which is an endless journey of self-improvement. Imagine if every day you sought to be just a bit stronger, a bit more focused, a bit more disciplined than the day before. Over time, those small improvements compound, leading to incredible progress. The beauty of this approach is that it removes the ceiling from your achievements. You're not bound by someone else's capabilities or accomplishments. Instead, you're pushing toward the best version of yourself, which is limitless. The person in the mirror also knows your weaknesses better than anyone else. You can't hide your fears, insecurities, or mistakes from yourself. This is a powerful thing because it means you know exactly where you need to grow. Competing with yourself means acknowledging those weaknesses and actively working to overcome them. It requires honesty and humility to look at yourself and admit where you've fallen short, but it also takes courage to commit to doing better. Each time you confront a weakness, each time you challenge yourself to improve, you're making progress in this internal competition. There's also a level of accountability that comes with seeing yourself as your biggest competitor. When you're solely focused on external competition, it's easy to make excuses or blame circumstances. But when you're in competition with yourself, there's no one else to hold responsible. If you didn't reach a goal, if you didn't follow through on a commitment, that's on you. This self-accountability is both challenging and empowering. It forces you to take ownership of your actions and results, but it also gives you control over your progress. When you know that your success depends on beating your own past performance, you start to take responsibility for every step you take, and that's a powerful mindset shift. Self-compassion is an essential part of this process too. Competing with yourself doesn't mean being overly critical or harsh. It's about striving for improvement while also understanding that growth takes time. You may not see massive changes overnight, and there will be times when you fall short. But instead of beating yourself up, view these moments as opportunities to learn and refocus. Competing with yourself requires resilience and a willingness to bounce back from setbacks. Every time you face a challenge, learn from it and keep moving forward. You're winning in this internal competition. Another aspect to consider is that by focusing on self-competition, you develop a strong sense of intrinsic motivation. When you're competing with others, your motivation can be fleeting. It's dependent on external validation and comparison. But when your goal is to improve yourself, that motivation comes from within. It's fueled by a personal commitment to growth and achievement. This intrinsic motivation is far more sustainable because it doesn't rely on the actions or opinions of others. It's rooted in your own desire to be the best you can be, which makes it a powerful driver of long-term success. Lastly, embracing the mindset of me v yes. Me can create a sense of fulfillment and purpose that goes beyond any external achievement. When you're focused on personal growth, you're no longer just chasing the specific outcome. You're committed to a journey of continuous improvement. This process of challenging yourself, setting new goals, overcoming obstacles, and becoming better each day can bring a deep sense of satisfaction and pride. You're no longer living to impress others or meet societal standards. You're living to fulfill your own potential. This is a purpose that's enduring and meaningful because it's about becoming the person you were meant to be. The journey of self-competition is one of the most rewarding paths you can take. It's not an easy path. Facing yourself requires courage, honesty, and resilience, but the rewards are immense. By viewing yourself as your biggest competitor, you open the door to unlimited growth, achievement, and fulfillment. The person in the mirror is not an adversary, but an ally in your journey to greatness. Every day presents an opportunity to be better than the day before. It's easy to go through life on autopilot, following routines without thinking about growth, but when we consciously decide to compete with our past selves, everything changes. The goal becomes not just to get through the day, but to make today a step forward from yesterday. Each new day is like a clean slate, a fresh chance to set a new standard, to push a little harder, to learn a little more, and to achieve things that yesterday might have felt out of reach. This mindset doesn't demand huge, overwhelming steps. Progress is found in small, consistent actions that add up over time. Maybe today it's reading an extra page, running an extra mile, spending more time with loved ones, or finally tackling a task you've been avoiding. These small efforts may seem minor, but they build up, creating a ripple effect in every area of your life. When you choose to be even a fraction better each day, you set off a powerful chain of growth that over time leads to significant change. Choosing to be better than yesterday isn't just about action, it's also about mindset. It's about shifting from a place of comfort to one of continuous improvement. The mentality of doing a little bit more, trying a little bit harder and pushing past yesterday's limits builds resilience, confidence, and self-belief. Each day that you outdo your previous self, you're proving to yourself that growth is possible, that change is within reach, and that you're capable of reaching heights you may have once thought were beyond you. Self-doubt is one of the biggest obstacles standing between us and our full potential. It's the voice in our head that questions our abilities, that whispers fears of failure, that plants seeds of insecurity. Every person, no matter how confident they may appear, experiences self-doubt at some point. The key to success, growth, and reaching our goals isn't in eliminating that doubt, but in learning how to overcome it and keep moving forward despite it. Self-doubt is often born from a mix of past experiences, fear of failure, and societal expectations. And while it's normal to experience it, allowing it to hold us back is a choice we can change. One of the first steps to overcoming self-doubt is understanding that it's just a thought, not a fact. Too often, people mistake those internal voices of doubt as indicators of their limitations, when in reality, they're simply reflections of fear and uncertainty. It's important to remember that self-doubt isn't an accurate assessment of your abilities. It's a feeling generated by the unknown, by stepping outside your comfort zone, or by comparing yourself to others. Once you recognize that self-doubt is merely a mental response and not an objective reality, you can begin to separate yourself from it and prevent it from defining your actions. Another effective way to combat self-doubt is by taking small, intentional steps toward your goals. Doubt often comes from viewing a goal or challenge as too big, too overwhelming, or too far out of reach. By breaking down your goals into smaller, manageable steps, you not only make the journey seem more achievable, but also build confidence with each small success. Each step forward, no matter how small, creates momentum. Momentum helps with some doubt. And that momentum helps to drown out the voices of doubt. As you accumulate these small victories, you start building a foundation of confidence that weakens the power of self-doubt. This process of gradual, steady progress serves as evidence that you are capable, that you're moving in the right direction, and that you can accomplish more than you initially thought. Self-doubt can also stem from a fear of failure or making mistakes, but the truth is that failure is an integral part of any journey towards success. Instead of letting the fear of making mistakes paralyze you, shift your perspective to see failure as an opportunity to learn and grow. Every successful person has faced setbacks, made mistakes, and encountered failure, but what sets them apart is their ability to rise above these obstacles, learn from them, and use them as fuel to keep moving forward. When you start to view failure as a necessary step on the path to success, your self-doubt begins to lose its grip. Instead of fearing what could go wrong, you start focusing on what you can gain from each experience, even if it doesn't go as planned. Building self-belief is crucial in overcoming self-doubt, and one of the most effective ways to do this is by practicing self-affirmation. Our minds are influenced by what we consistently tell ourselves, so if we constantly reinforce negative beliefs, self-doubt becomes more ingrained. However, by consciously affirming your strengths, capabilities, and past achievements, you can start to reshape your self-image. Remind yourself daily of what you have accomplished, the challenges you've overcome, and the skills you possess. Positive affirmations may feel uncomfortable at first, especially if self-doubt has been a long-standing habit, but over time they can begin to rewire your mind, creating a stronger sense of self-worth and confidence. Another powerful strategy for dealing with self-doubt is to surround yourself with supportive, positive influences. The people you spend the most time with can significantly impact your mindset, and being around those who uplift and believe in you can help reinforce your own belief in yourself. Seek out mentors, friends, or communities that encourage growth and are genuinely invested in your success. These people can provide a fresh perspective, remind you of your strengths, and offer support when self-doubt starts to creep in. When you're surrounded by positivity and encouragement, it becomes easier to see yourself through a lens of potential and capability. One of the underlying causes of self-doubt is often comparison. In today's world, it's easier than ever to compare ourselves to others, especially with the constant presence of social media showcasing everyone's highlight reel. However, comparing your journey to someone else's is a surefire way to amplify self-doubt. Everyone has a unique path with different experiences, challenges, and timelines. When you compare yourself to others, you're essentially measuring your worth against someone else's achievements, which is not a fair or accurate assessment. Instead of focusing on what others are doing, direct your energy towards your progress. Recognize your unique strengths and the journey that only you can take. Shifting your focus away from comparison and towards self-improvement helps to quiet self-doubt and builds confidence in your path. Embracing self-compassion is also essential in overcoming self-doubt. People often think that being critical of themselves will drive them to succeed, but in reality, harsh self-criticism only feeds self-doubt. Self-compassion, on the other hand, allows you to acknowledge your struggles without judgment, giving you the space to learn and grow. When you treat yourself with kindness, you create an environment where you feel safe to try new things, take risks, and make mistakes, knowing that you won't be overly hard on yourself if things don't go perfectly. This self-compassion helps to diminish the intensity of self-doubt and replaces it with a nurturing attitude that encourages growth. Visualization is another effective tool to counter self-doubt. By visualizing yourself achieving your goals, you can create a mental blueprint for success. Picture yourself taking the necessary steps, overcoming challenges, and reaching your objectives. Visualization isn't just about seeing the end result, it's also about mentally rehearsing the journey. When you repeatedly visualize yourself succeeding, you begin to build a sense of familiarity with success. This familiarity can help reduce the fear of the unknown as your mind starts to believe in the possibility of achieving your goals. Visualization creates a mental rehearsal that can increase your confidence, lessen self-doubt, and make the process feel more achievable. Taking ownership of your journey is also key to overcoming self-doubt. Often, self-doubt arises when we feel out of control, when external factors seem to dictate our path, or when we feel reliant on others' validation. By taking responsibility for your goals, your actions, and your growth, you reclaim control over your journey. Ownership allows you to focus on what you can do rather than what others think or expect. When you take ownership, you're less likely to be swayed by external opinions or uncertainties and more likely to trust in your ability to shape your future. Lastly, it's essential to remember that overcoming self-doubt is a continuous process. There may never come a time when self-doubt disappears entirely, but each time you choose to confront it, challenge it, and move forward in spite of it, you strengthen your resilience. With each step you take, you're building a foundation of self-trust and self-belief. Success often seems like an elusive target, a goal that's always just out of reach. But what's less visible and yet so critical is that success is built on the discipline to show up, to work, to keep going even when it's hard and even when progress feels slow. Discipline is the foundation of achievement. It's the force that pushes us to get out of bed early, to finish that extra rep, to tackle the hard work when every part of us is looking for an excuse to quit. Discipline is what bridges the gap between our goals and reality, and without it, dreams remain just that, dreams. Building discipline begins with understanding that motivation alone is fleeting. There are days when you feel inspired, when you're driven, but motivation is like a wave, it comes and goes. Discipline, however, is the constant force that keeps you moving forward regardless of how you feel. It's about doing what needs to be done even when you don't feel like it. Discipline is waking up early even when you're tired. It's putting in the work even when the initial excitement fades. While motivation gets you started, discipline is what carries you through. It's the difference between those who achieve their goals and those who let their goals slip away. One of the keys to developing discipline is to create a routine. Routine is like a structure that discipline can rely on. It's the framework that helps make progress automatic. When you build habits and routines, you take decision making out of the equation. There's no internal debate about whether or not you should work out, study, or put in that extra effort because it becomes a natural part of your day. By sticking to a routine, you free yourself from having to negotiate with yourself every time, which strengthens your ability to stay disciplined. Routines make discipline easier because they reduce the mental energy it takes to start or continue working on your goals. Discipline also requires sacrifice. There's no way around it. Achieving anything meaningful means giving up something, whether it's leisure, comfort, or instant gratification. For example, if you're trying to get fit, discipline means saying no to that dessert or pushing through your workout even when it's hard. If you're building a business, discipline might mean staying up late to finish that project or putting in extra hours when others are resting. Sacrifice is hard, but it's a necessary part of the process. The truth is that success has a cost, and discipline is the willingness to pay that price day in and day out. One effective way to cultivate discipline is by setting clear, specific goals. Vague goals like I want to get in shape or I want to be successful don't provide a concrete path. Discipline thrives when you have a target, something tangible to aim for. When your goals are specific, you can break them down into smaller, manageable steps, which makes it easier to stay disciplined. For example, if your goal is to read more, instead of saying, I want to read more books, set a goal to read for 30 minutes each day. Discipline becomes more achievable when you have a roadmap to follow. One step at a time. An often overlooked aspect of discipline is the role of accountability. It's one thing to make promises to yourself, but it's another to make commitments that others are aware of. Accountability can come from a mentor, a family member, or even a community that shares similar goals. When you're accountable to someone else, the stakes are higher. There's someone who will check in, someone who cares whether or not you show up, and that external pressure can help you push through moments when you feel like giving up. Accountability can also provide support and encouragement, reminding you why you started and helping to keep you on track. Another important aspect of discipline is resilience. Discipline isn't about being perfect every day. It's about continuing to try even when you fall short. There will be setbacks, mistakes, and failures. But resilience, the ability to bounce back, to not let one bad day turn into a bad week, is a key component of discipline. It's easy to stay disciplined when everything is going well, but true discipline is about getting back on track after a setback. Resilience is what allows you to maintain your discipline over the long term, to stay committed to your goals no matter what challenges come your way. The mental toughness that discipline builds is one of its greatest rewards. Discipline teaches you to be strong in the face of discomfort, to push through doubt, and to ignore distractions. It builds a mindset that doesn't quit at the first sign of difficulty. This mental strength carries over into all areas of life. When you learn to be disciplined in one area, like working out or studying, that strength spreads to other areas. The same skills that help you stay disciplined at the gym can help you be disciplined in your career, relationships, or personal growth.